So we talk a lot about nature and nurture when discussing many aspects of human behavior. When talking about shyness, we're also going to talk about nature and nurture. What do I mean by that? What I mean is your shyness is partly a result of your personality and partly a result of your environment. But the point I want you to understand, the most important point I want you to understand, is that it is mostly a result of your environment. Now you may think that this is a strange thing to say. It would seem to ring true if I said you were just born that way. Your shyness is just a result of the brain chemistry that you were born with. That would seem to make sense, right? Just like other aspects of your personality, like kindness and temper. But what I'm going to ask you to do is to reject that theory. You were not born with it. You developed it. Your surroundings made you shy. Your parents made you shy. That's right, I said it. It's your parents' fault. Your mom's fault, your dad's fault. How many of you are ticklish? Raise your hand. That happens every time. 90% of the class raises their hand. Why do you think that is? Do you really think that 90% of the general population is ticklish? Now I want you to think about a baby. When a baby is born, there are some pre-existing connections inside its brain. And certain parts of its brain make it do instinctive things like crying and suckling. But almost everything else is about to be learned. Now think about that baby again. What do human beings do with a baby? We play with it. We touch it, we rub its belly, we make strange noises to it. The thing that we're doing to it is that we are constantly touching it. This stimulates the baby's brain, which is forming all sorts of synaptic connections inside the brain. Now, however, imagine a baby that is neglected by its parents for whatever reason. Maybe the parents are poor and are busy and leave the baby alone for long stretches of time. Maybe the mother just had a new baby and everyone's concentrating their attention on the new baby. What happens to the baby that is left alone? No one is stimulating that baby. The baby that is stimulated is not ticklish. That baby grows used to the touching. The baby that is left alone, that is not touched, that baby's brain never gets used to being touched, never develops a resistance to the touching. That baby grows up to be ticklish. Some of you at this point are thinking, maybe I'm crazy. Okay, so many of us are ticklish. So what? The point I am trying to make to you is that your being ticklish is a result of your environment as a baby. I want you to let that sink in. I want you to think about that tonight. It cannot be chance that every seminar, 90% of the people here are ticklish. There has to be a correlation. So now I want you to go home and think about the fact that something as primal as ticklishness could be the result of your environment. So what else could be the product of your environment? Class is over for today. I hope to see you all here next week. And remember, as I always say, do something you haven't done before. Introduce yourself to someone. Eat something you haven't had before. Try something, anything different. And for those who like, you can join me at the West End pub. I will be there shortly. Emma, could you stay for a few minutes? Dr. Laszlo called me about you, and I wanted to speak with you on a one-on-one basis for a few minutes, if that's okay. What I wanted to tell you is that it's not really important that you attend the seminar every week if you don't want to. What's much more important is if we talk as therapist and patient, so you can tell me whatever is on your mind. And our conversation will not go outside us, not even to Laszlo, okay? So, what would you like to talk about today?
I don't know.
I hold a more advanced seminar on Thursday, and right after that, I reserve some time for students. Would you like to come then?
I don't think I could afford actual therapy.
For my more interesting subjects, my sessions are always free. So I'll see you on Thursday. Want to join us at the West End pub?
I work morning shift tomorrow.
It was nice meeting you.
Nice meeting you too. Can I ask you one thing?
Sure.
I have to go home for the long weekend,
Yes?
but I don't really want to go.
Why?
I never enjoy going home. I always come back feeling sad and lonely. But I feel like I have to go
Why?
because of my dad.
He forces you to go?
No, he doesn't force me to go. I feel like I have to go because he so desperately wants me to.
So your dad doesn't bother you?
It's everyone else.
Who's everyone else?
My mother, my sisters.
So you don't want to spend the holidays with them, but you feel like you have to because of your father.
I left home one day without telling anyone and cut off communication with my family. My dad kept in touch through email, and then he came to visit me in Toronto. He bought me a cell phone so he could always call me, and he also pays for half my rent so I could move into a nicer place. He's a good person. But meeting him with family is a bit stressful. I like it when he comes to visit me in the city.
I could tell you you should do whatever you want and not what other people want. But I don't know the full circumstances of your relationship yet. I can give you a quick bit of advice. Think of it as a test that you're running, that you're in charge of. The test is, are these people worthy of my time and energy? So how do we test this? You go home for the weekend and test out the scenario. If you don't like it, just leave. Don't go with the idea, oh, I came, so I need to spend the whole weekend. You do not have to stay. You don't have to do anything. If you don't like it, leave. The moment you feel uncomfortable, you can engage your family and tell them what it is that's making you feel uncomfortable, or you don't have to explain anything at all. You can just pack your bags and go back to your own house. Where do they live?
Hamilton?
Hop back on the bus or the train the moment you don't feel like staying. Anything else? And remember, Do something you haven't done before. Get a tattoo. Introduce yourself to somebody. Order a drink you haven't ordered before.
I will.
Your song, Emma. It'll come right out.